iOS fans.
Hello, everyone.
How is everybody doing today in this insane world that it is?
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's all mad. How are you, Robin?
I'm actually very well
Good.
compared with a lot of people around the globe.
No dry
Uh,
coughs,
yeah,
fevers,
we've
anything like that?
day 2 of homeschooling has gone okay. I still have the same number of children that I started the morning with, and I think that's a good thing.
That's
Um,
probably as good as it can get.
yeah. So it's going okay. How about you, Pete?
Yes, my world is pretty much the same. It's this hasn't actually made much. The whole thing hasn't made much of a difference to me overall. I mean, apart from the fact that I'm not commuting into work, I'm working from home in my office where I work every Friday anyway. I mean, I just have to ignore the noise coming from downstairs a bit more. My son comes in every now
Your
and then a bit
wife
more.
killing the children.
Yeah, yeah. My eldest has to come in a bit more often to ask, how he prints something out from the rubbish homework thing that the teachers are trying to sort out or whatever. But for the most part, I don't like going out anyway, so this has made very little difference to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of happy nerds
Yeah.
out there at the moment.
Well, not now. GW have just announced
Well,
that
no,
they're.
that's true. It was almost perfect, and yes, GW are closing down, which is an interesting move. I was a bit fed up with them actually for not closing the shops.
Yeah, they should have been shut
Sort of
earlier.
before the weekend. I thought that was a bit poor, but then they've kind of gone. They've closed everything down, which not that many people have done. Closed their warehouses down.
Yeah, true. Which I
So,
guess in some ways you could say, maybe they should. Maybe other places should be shutting
oh
warehouses.
yeah,
Should Amazon
possibly
still
so.
be?
I mean, I think it's a good. I think it's a good call, but I'm surprised by it. I would have thought they could run skeleton staff and keep orders going out, but I don't know
Yeah.
what goes on behind there. But anyway,
Who
yeah.
knows? Who knows? I can see the reasoning. So it has. Milky's just said GW closing has saved him money. It's definitely saved me money. Grandpa Noble, sorry I'm late. You're not late. We just got started.
Grandpa Nurgle, we mean by sorry you're late, like you've just arrived and going to give everybody coronavirus.
So who have we got? So who have we got tonight? We've got Matt. I presume that means Loz is listening as well. VJ. We've got who else online here? Scrolling down the list. Malky. We've got Milky. We've got Robin. We've got Timothy. We've got Mr. Lenny Winks. We've got Dead Hands. Mr. Greaves again. Sex Paint.
Valentine's in.
Yep. Jace Parker. Hello to everybody. Grandpa Nurgle, obviously. Horndrap Minis. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello,
Megalodon is
hello.
here.
This is a random episode for us. We've got nothing really planned. Grandpa Nurgle's coughing. Get out. Get out, Grandpa. Go on.
We've
It's a shame
lost Animal Crossing. Yeah, Animal Crossing is as we discussed on our Discord, the Patreon Discord. Animal Crossing is something that has not crossed my radar.
No.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Joshua Pilkington's in. Hi, Joshua. Jace did the giveaway winner ever server. Yes, he did.
He did.
I believe, Pete, you've sent off the stuff across.
I was going to, and then we got told by Floppy Hair that we're not allowed to leave the house.
Oh, so it's
So I
not
can't. So I can't post it yet, but we do have our winner. Yes.
that. Okay.
Whilst I'm thinking about it, Mr. Greaves, people want to hear your Rawk deck. They want to hear your voice on it. They want to know how your brain worked it, and they want you on the show. So let us know.
Well, if you don't want to come on the show, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But we need your deck somewhere we can share it and show everybody. Pretend it's ours.
Send us a dick pic and give us your thoughts on it.
Yes,
if
Tim,
you
we've
don't
had
mind.
several. He says, "What really?" Yes, we've had several people. Valentine, who's a bit further up the comments, he has asked several times, but several people have asked us how the Rawk deck works and what's in it. So if you want to share it, or if you were happy to have you on, if you want to come on, but if you want to share it, then do let us know, and we'll share it around.
Yes, yeah. People would, unlike the coronavirus, everyone wants a little bit of this. So let us know. We can either get the deck and get your thoughts and talk about it on one of our shows.
We can even play it on one of our new
play,
online extravaganzas that we haven't done yet.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we're going to talk about tonight. Is what we're going to be doing, and what is everybody else doing out there right now when they can't leave their house.
No.
So I was. Go on, after you.
And I was going to say, has anybody else out there found out since they're locked in, well, not locked in, but at home, got nothing to do, they're actually busier than they've ever been in their lives?
Yes.
I don't have time to do anything.
But I mean, you think about it. You would drop your kids off at school, and it's not like you would go home and then just sit there for 6 hours reading a book. But you had like near 6 hours worth of no kids, and now you don't have any time without kids.
Yeah,
So
I've got to teach the kids,
yeah,
it's interesting. And then so yeah, you're right. With the chores I would do at home when the children are at school, I now have to do after school after I've done all the teaching
all
of
the
the children,
teaching
which
stuff.
isn't actually as hard as I make that sound. A lot of it is going for bike rides and like killing myself to the with Joe Wicks on the telly first thing this morning.
Oh God, I'm going to be on that tomorrow. I'm
Yeah.
going to be well, not on it. I'm going to be doing the. That would be terrifying. I'm going to be doing the Joe Wicks workout with my youngest tomorrow as well.
Okay. It's all right actually. It's not bad. But it is hard work, and I'm actually going to be fitter than I've ever been at the end of this. It was, let's say this last 12 weeks. I'm going to be fitter than I've ever been
Are
if
you
I do
doing it
that.
every morning?
Do that every morning, and then we are going out. We're still able to go out for bike rides as our one day out, one time out exercise that we've been prescribed, and we can go out and do our bike ride at the back here. There's not that many people live out the back there, so we go out for a bike ride. So by the time I've done that as well, I've been playing football in the back garden. I should be super fit if I don't break anything playing football, which is quite possible.
Mark Peel says he's homeschooling. He's got his house and garden tidy. He's been walking the four-legged monster. I'm assuming that's not a euphemism. He might eventually sit down and get around to properly learning Underworlds. Well, Mark, you're in the right place. Not here right now, but this channel. Hopefully, if you can't learn it from watching our videos, if we don't show you what not to do, then I don't know who will.
In fact, Pete, that's quite a nice segue because you have got coming very soon, have you not, How to Play Warhammer Underworld series?
We have, yeah. We've got the first, I think, I'd say 7 or 8 episodes, but it's probably about 6 or 7 because the first one's just basically us saying, hey, we're doing Underworlds How to Play. So we will be doing that. And they'll be coming out hopefully near the end of this week.
Brilliant.
It's not quite, I can't remember what's her face. What's her name? The woman who
Becca
does all the
Scott?
How to. Yeah, it's not quite Becca Scott territory, but
We've got none of us looking off into the middle distance. I know noticed that Duncan does the looking off into the middle distance on his new channel.
I wonder
which
if
I just don't get it.
I wonder if they do that so that when you're recording and you get halfway through a sentence, then you get, oh crap, I completely fumbled that word, and then you start from halfway through the sentence again. I've realised that maybe they do that a lot of the time to cut between when they have to re-record half a sentence, and then they just do a different angle for a bit, and then they do the same angle again. I wonder if it's because of that.
Makes it just easier rather than we do the kind of blur where you kind of blur
I think
into a future version of yourself.
I think the blur's a bit. I think the blur's a bit amateur. I think that's amateur.
Okay.
I think the new way of doing it is a different
that's
camera
what we
angle.
aim for. Amateur in every aspect,
That is
really.
true. I feel if we get really, if our whole process gets really polished and we get quite professional about it, then we'll have lost that thing that appealed to most of the people who sub to us.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I still don't think the staring in the middle distance is an improvement on the blur, no matter how amateurish it looks.
That's true.
Milky wants to know, is somebody in a dress? But I don't think it's me. And I don't think it's Pete, but who knows? Maybe he thinks he's on a different chat.
Yeah, no dresses, I'm afraid, Milky. Jay says he hasn't got around to getting any painting done because he's been constantly having anxiety attacks about everything. It's that thing, you've just got to try and not think about it. Just try and... I mean, it's easy for me because I'm at work. I'm at home, but I'm working, which is just like every Friday for me. So I can be very much, this is normal, this is okay. A bit like that, the cartoon of the person with the house on fire and they're like, this is fine, drinking the tea. It's a bit like that. But then every now and then you read something and you realise, oh no, this is actually absolutely batshit mad.
Yeah. Jace, I've actually been doing more painting because I've been coping with not being doing the other things I should be doing because of anxiety, and I've been painting. I say more; it's not a lot more, but it is a little bit more painting. So I've been doing my House Escher for Necromunda, which we'll come on to later, and the scenery for that. But yeah, I've actually done a little bit more painting, except until homeschooling started, and then it all went out the window, almost literally. So I see Milky wants to know we're going to wear a dress like Becca. Don't think we can carry that off.
Speak for yourself, mate.
I tried getting my wife to do it. She's a redhead too. But I don't think she would deliver it with quite the same vim.
Most of it would be her looking at the camera going, why am I doing this? Why are you
I like this comment from Jace, which is amateur production, amateur deck building, amateur strategy, the agents of Sigmar promise. I think we can hold to that.
The 3 A's: amateur, amateur, amateur. That's what we go for.
Yeah.
And yes, Timothy, if you want to chat to us
A's.
about, yeah, exactly. If you want to chat to us, Timothy, we can find ways. There's the Patreon Discord. We can chat over there at some point.
Yeah, or
If you
Patreon
want to,
messages.
if you want to come on the channel and you want to be a disembodied voice and Skype up with us on a future episode, then we could do that, or we can just get your deck if you want to, and yeah, but there are many ways. So get in touch. Have your people talk to our people. By that I mean you talk to us.
Timothy to talk to my kids. I'm not sure how that's going to work. So VJ has been getting ready for his Blitz bars. Going well. That's excellent to hear. I'm looking forward to seeing those.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
We are, on the other hand, because he mentions green screens, we will not be green screening in the near future.
No.
We're going to be going over to our first option for online content production, which is going to be TTS.
TTS, yeah. Yeah. Is that our first option, or is our first option WUO?
Well, they're two very different games. We could talk about this now, really.
They
I
are.
guess this could be one of our random offshoots of conversation, but I think they provide very different things right now. Because Warhammer Underworlds Online looks awesome. It looks fantastic. I think that it's a very polished product, getting better all the time, and gives you that everything's alive kind of feel, but it is a copy of the game still. And I think that's great for if you want to play, if you want to relive Season 1 but see everything come alive. I think that's awesome for. But it's not TTS, which is effectively a digital version of the current version of Beastgrave. It's completely 100% up to date and has everything in it.
Yes. Sorry, Pete. I'm just kind of listening to you and not answering. You're just It's interesting. I find TT is a little bit clumsy, but it's quite nice to play the game in its current state. But I bizarrely find Warhammer Underworlds Online difficult to take seriously because it's a different game and it's so much slower. Not slower in the sense of the actual gameplay. The game is actually quicker, but it's quite the actual tactics and whatever are quite a lot less dynamic than the Beastgrave dynamics. So yeah, Jason said, Season 1 and 3 are such different games, and I enjoy playing both. So then we're going to do a mixture. I've got the official content, if you like, will be the WUO stuff, the Warhammer Underworlds Online content, and the Tabletop Simulator, obviously, because it's not a licensed product, is a little bit cheeky to be recording that. But I kind of feel like actually these are desperate times, and if you want to record anything, that's what it's got to be. So, so we're going to do both. We'll probably, I imagine, Pete, we haven't really talked about it because we've been so busy. But we'll probably keep going on Wednesday evenings. Probably do a couple of games on TTS, and then if we've got time, chuck out a couple of live Warhammer Underworlds Online games, maybe if time allows.
I think so. I definitely agree with what VJ was it VJ said, or was it I might have missed the comment now. So VJ says he prefers Warhammer Underworlds Online, and I think personally I personally prefer Warhammer Underworlds Online, but as we said, it's not got the current season of stuff in this. If you really want to play up to date meta, and you can't play it anywhere right now unless you want to set up like a Skype camera and all that madness, which is ridiculous. I mean, TTS is perfect for that. And whilst I wouldn't ever advocate using a digital rip-off over the original game, right now most of us can't play the original game. So I think as long as you've bought all the stuff and you're happy that you've paid your pound of flesh to the people that are owed it in this case, then I don't see a problem with using it, to be honest.
No, I don't think so. There isn't really, and I think they probably would be fairly happy that people are still playing their game, because even when they can't play it other ways. Valentin said that you could do it over. Well, they do it over Skype, which works very well. I can see that working well when you have the warband and mirror their moves and stuff. I can see that working well. We haven't quite worked out how to record it very well in the space that we've got to do indoor recording. I
haven't physically not got the space to be able to place the boards somewhere where we could play it and record it and everything like that. So I think if it works for you, great. I don't think it really works for us given our circumstance.
No.
And like VJ said at the end there, as long as you've have a hard copy of everything you're using, I think that's fine. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that too. Matt says, are we going to upload our AOS Warhammer Underworld Season 1 games? Yes, we do have our, what's the word I'm looking for, Patrons Underworlds, Warhammer Underworlds Online tournament has just started. We're in Season 1, so yeah, we will upload those probably, assuming I can. Sometimes I can't, if I can play a game in the day, I can't record it. But so then if I'm going to do it, yeah, well, exactly, now it's impossible. So it will mean playing in the evenings if I'm going to record them. But we'll see. Well, I could record them and have no sound, but that wouldn't be very exciting.
Yeah. So we will, wherever possible, we will upload. I will, wherever I can, stream my games. Obviously, my opponent won't know what I'm doing anyway. I won't show them off at the time. I'll upload them and then show them off later on. But if we play any games against each other, we might try and do like we did before. You were streaming on YouTube, Robin, and I was streaming on Twitch. And that worked quite well.
I enjoyed that.
That worked really well.
That was in the old world, as it were. I mean, not the old world, but that was in the old world. Now I'm still trying to get used to life under lockdown.
Yes.
I'm sure a week or so's time I'll be there, and it'll be much easier to find the time to get the games in. Yeah,
and as Jace puts in at the end there, if a global pandemic doesn't morally justify the use of TTS, then nothing will. And I think this is about as good a situation as you can get for using a digital version of the game to play a game that should be normally against somebody across the table.
VJ says something controversial. He says that Warhammer Underworlds Online is a perfect time cap of when the game is most fun, in his opinion. End of Season 1. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think it's more fun now, actually. I really like it now. They've...
Go on.
Well, I say now I don't think Greenwatch are quite as powerful as they were, and I think I really like the current state of the meta.
I wonder how, because we haven't done very many heavy Grimwatch.
No, and that might be the garage meta that I'm enjoying.
Yeah, although I mean I haven't actually got onto editing the last 2 games in our series yet. So
which ones were they?
Ones against Matt and Loz.
Oh, you haven't done those yet? Okay.
I'm still working on those, because this week is going to be our secondary match for the names of them, Condemners versus Nurgle.
Okay.
That's the second match coming out this Friday for our Patreon supporters. First one will be coming out on YouTube this week. But then there's the Matt and Loz games after that. So I will be working on those ones. But that's the only time we've played a Grimwatch objective printing, glory printing sort of meta, and I don't know how good that is now.
Yeah.
I need to check something.
There's no gits.
You need to talk for a minute, Robin. I need to check something very urgently.
Oh, okay. Right then. What we got here? Well, yeah, VJ, you're absolutely right. The game is much better with the gits in it. I'm sure there's lots of people who agree with that. And Matt is also right. Season 1 was dominated with near identical decks. That's very true. And I feel like I haven't played it very much since the Fast Riders have been in, but I feel like Turtle Cast is definitely more of a thing in Warhammer Underworlds Online than it ever was in the garage. Basically, Pete and I didn't think of it.
Could it be just because you played more games of Season 1 than we ever played?
Yeah, it's possibly true. I've been actually listening to, I don't know if anybody's listened to Chatting Crit. I'm working my way through their article about, or their podcast about control decks, and they're up to where I've got to now. They've been talking about Nightbolt. It was quite interesting listening to them talk about how they evolved into the control play style, and it's an interesting listen. It always is. They're very good, their podcast, but it's very long though. It's about like 2 hours 40 minutes or something crazy. So I'm slowly working my way through it in between doing stuff. My mic keeps coming down, thinking I'm listening to the latest updates from the government about coronavirus. It's like, no, it's just 3 blokes talking about a card game.
So I just had to quickly check something. I had a very horrible feeling that I had given Robin the memory cards that had the Matt and Loz games on.
Okay.
But I didn't.
Good. Well done.
Safe. That could have been rather worrying for a moment there, but we're okay. We're okay.
So I put home movies on those last night.
Now, VJ says
just me sitting watching the telly.
This is what I prepared for. VJ says it's in his opinion about Shadespire being the best edition, but when he got Nightfall, he fell out of the game. He got sick of the card chase, didn't really enjoy the addition of magic and even more OP Stormcast warbands. I mean, to an extent, Nightfall was a bit of a, especially as the season went on,
Yeah.
definitely got into a dip, got into a very deep, drudgery place at one point where it just became an offense chase with surge cards.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Matt says he's looking forward to the scoring glory cards being taken out. Yeah, me too. That would be good. That would be good when they're gone. Definitely.
Yeah, I think once the Nightfall cards disappear, we could see a very different game again, and that could be a very good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing right now. I don't think the game's doing very badly at all. I think it's got a lot of good things going for it. You can play offense, you can play defense, you can play objectives and stuff, and they've all got a good set of options now. But I think once Season 2 cards get cycled out and we've just got, Beastgrave, it's going to be a very interesting place to be in, because there's a lot of classic cards right now that everyone always takes, like Potion of Rage, Tome of Offerings, all those kind of things. They're going to be gone.
Although, but the only thing is they'll just be replaced by new classic cards, and that's the slight problem. And I guess inevitability with any game like this is that you always have cards that are better than others. It's just inevitable. So
that's true.
You're always going to get something like Gather Momentum will be in every deck after. I mean, it's in most decks now, but it'll be a really popular card, even more popular probably than it is now.
But Gather Momentum, that's the one where you have to be 5 hexes away from where you started, isn't it?
Yeah, and after I said it, I thought that's not the perfect choice, but it's a very strong card for most warbands.
I think it is, but the thing I like about it is it does force you to not necessarily play. It forces you to do something different, unlike some of the other cards.
You can also score it by scoring 2 surges.
That is true. So you do have a slightly easier way of doing it, although you've still got to be lucky to get the right surges out. So, and if you don't and you want to score it, you've got to do that. You've got to do that move, and it's a bit more restrictive. It's a bit like when they reprinted, was it Cover Ground, where it said you had to enter 6 different hexes.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make a massive difference, but in some situations it could. It could mean that you're sitting there going, crap, I can't actually go through 6 different hexes before I do this charge or whatever, and therefore I can't easily score this card without maybe going through a lethal hex or things like that. I was playing a game against Brandon the other night on TTS, and I had that card, and I sort of said I'm going to do this, and then I moved the model and said I've covered 6 hexes, and then I thought, oh crap, I can't actually easily cover 6 hexes. I had to sort of go out on my way a bit and come round to actually score it. And before you would have just said wouldn't have even had to think about it.
Around in the circle.
Yeah, you could have just gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, I'm intrigued now because you haven't told me what you're playing. You're bringing that on tomorrow, aren't you? And you haven't told me what it is. It's good. It's a reasonably fast-moving warband.
Yeah, Brandon, if you're online, don't say anything. don't say what happened. It's going to be a surprise.
Okay, you've got to bring the Grimwatch, aren't you?
Yeah, it's just going to be Loz's deck. It's going to sit at the back of the board and print glory. Screw you! When's it my turn?
Jay says it seems like the top warbands have shifted around with each release of Beastgrave. Grimwatch was dominating for a while, but there are now Rippers and Hrothgorn making shows. Yeah, I think so. Rippers did really well at the Prague Open, didn't they? I haven't seen any coverage of that. I've actually been a bit out of it because there haven't been many games recently. Hrothgorn, I think, is really, really strong. I think he's got potential to break everything up, but probably not with me playing him.
The only issue I've got right now is you can obviously, with a good Hrothgorn deck, you could cause Grimwatch absolute hell, especially if they were going for standing on objectives, if you've got the right things in your Hrothgorn deck to take out a selection of objectives.
Yeah.
So that means that Grimwatch players might have to think, oh crap, maybe I don't want to go quite that heavy in case I come up against a Hrothgorn player. Or maybe they'll just say, screw it, I'll do it anyway and take my chances that I won't come up against a Hrothgorn player. And there's nothing really in the way tournaments work at the minute to ensure that you come up against a variety of opponents. So it's like when we went to the Grand Clash, you came up against Despoilers 3 times.
Yeah, 3 different types of deck, and I managed to lose them all, as I say every week. It's a problem. I suppose that's because, again, there's always a stronger set of decks. So and the way tournaments work is obviously the better people play each other as you go up the ladder, and so there isn't really easy way around that, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you can, but yeah, you're right. It is based on how well you're playing. So if there are no good Frostgorn players at the level you're at, then it's not like they can say, well, we need to match this Grimwatch person up against a Frostgorn player
No,
to make sure that they
no.
can. So it's probably not much you can do. But I guess hopefully it's going to make people think, I probably don't want to go too heavy on this element because somebody might take this deck, and if I come up against them, I'm screwed.
Yeah,
I don't
just his
wanna-
existence, I think, means you might have to play differently because he's got, even if you don't take too many objective destroying shenanigans, he can easily disrupt your glory, I think, by just shooting people off of objectives.
Yeah, even if he just goes for a kamikaze dive against like Crackmarrow
Yeah.
with a craftily placed trap and a crossbow yank out of position, he could quite easily take out Crackmarrow very quickly.
Yeah, he's good. I like him. The trap adds interesting element to it. And I'm not very good, so I haven't really worked out quite how best to use it yet.
I think whilst the trap and pull people into it seems like an obvious combination, and I think we might have even come up with that idea before they released it and suggested that might be a thing. I think in actual practice it's almost too hard to pull off. So you use the trap more to disrupt people and block lines of advancing and
Get it. Well, you get
objectives.
on an objective is good. And I think probably just using good old-fashioned distraction to get somebody into it is probably better. Certainly more reliable. And of course, you have the risk that you pull yourself into it, or not pull yourself into it, but you end up in it yourself, and that's the big issue with it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be horrible to lose Frostgorn to a distraction or something like that.
Yeah.
It'd be painful.
Yeah.
But as we've seen, Hrothgorn's not invulnerable. You know, he can
No.
die. We've seen that as well with a suitably offensive warband in place. So it's not like he's not quite Molligy, which I like.
Yeah, he's not. He's got more to. He's more to
Yeah.
it. He's got more to it than Moloch.
Yeah, he's got more tricks up his sleeves, I think.
Yeah, it's quite funny. We've got 23 people watching tonight. It's quite a select crowd. So well done. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you everybody for tuning in.
We thought we might have millions of everybody. The whole nation's locked in their rooms, but
I was hoping it
sadly,
would be more a Joe Wicks.
sadly,
sort
we're not
of,
Joe Wicks. Maybe we should start doing fitness things.
Yeah, who's gonna sign up for that one? No, nobody. I think is the answer to that one.
I did actually think of maybe recording myself doing the exercises. I thought that could actually be quite a level of entertainment.
And then speed it up 50%. Look how fast I'm going.
Yeah.
VJ asked a good question, which is with GW shutting down, how will this affect season 3? Yeah, I think this, depending on how long they're shut for, because I think at the minute it's only 2 weeks. It's only 2 weeks.
Is it 2 weeks? Is that what they've said? I don't remember reading that, but
no, I think he said they would review it in 3 weeks. So,
I see. Yeah.
So
I think that's
3 weeks.
3 weeks seems to be what everybody's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that is optimistic. It's optimistic.
Yeah, they were. Well, we thought they were probably due around end of April, May time. So chances are they're probably going to be delayed.
Oh, keep me up. They will be delayed, but I mean, there's going to be just an interesting logistical exercise for Games Workshop, isn't it? Because they're going to have stuff piling up, which I assume they have it already, but they are going to have releases. They're meant to be making announcements, which I'm guessing they're still going to do, but they are.
Look at this stuff you can't have.
Their release schedule is very, very fast now. So there's going to be all sorts of things popping up that not popping up. All sorts of things coming out that should be coming out that aren't.
But are they going to even be able? Are they even going to be doing many releases and announcements because they've got no staff at work? They've sent everybody home.
That's true.
They've shut down
production too. I thought they did say they were going to carry on doing stuff for the community team at home.
Maybe they could get some of that doing still, I guess.
Yeah.
But as Maliki pointed out, it might affect season 4 more because that's.
Yeah.
I mean, again, season 4 is
Absolutely.
probably already off at the printers, isn't it? So it depends on how much it impacts the actual production
That's
and
true.
everything.
They're season 5.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Yeah, season 5. I mean, they should be working on that right now, shouldn't they? So that could be the one that gets even bigger impact. These are the things that matter, not the not the lack of food and basic necessities, but when season 4 going to come out?
Yeah, reveals are coming this weekend. Yes, it's Saturday, isn't it? Be interesting to see it. I'll try and watch that. But they may have recorded all those announcement things in advance.
Yeah.
How they're going to do them, but yeah, be interesting to see. Quite excited.
I had
It's quite
forgotten
interesting.
that
Now we're playing
obviously.
Necromunda. There's actually 2 things to look out for in the announcements.
Although we're so far behind the curve with Necromunda, we probably don't
That's
care about any of the brand new stuff coming out.
that's not the point. That's not the point, is it? You're totally missing the point.
That is true.
And
That
actually,
is not the
probably
point
you'll
at all.
probably ought to jump in. We probably ought to jump in on the new stuff because that'll be what people want to watch. So we probably ought to jump in on the new stuff. Although quite often Necromunda new things is just like it's just one new bounty hunter or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's yeah. It'd be interesting to see what they come out with, because that's been pointed out in the comments as well, that they can announce this stuff, but then nobody can order it. Nobody's gonna be
No,
able to
that's
put
true.
any
Although
orders
the
in.
announcements are normally a little bit ahead of time, aren't
Yeah,
they?
true,
Hopefully.
a little bit. But Matt pointed out, I completely forgot about, is obviously they produce all the plastics, so they're not producing any plastics right now. So
No,
if there is anything that they should be producing right now for season 4 or anything like that,
they're not.
then there's nothing happening.
They're not. Although I'm guessing they must feel that they can keep that up. I don't know. I guess it's interesting times on everywhere. It's not really a major thing affecting the world, is it? Maybe they ought to be. As I noticed, a lot of people were 3D printer people were offering to print ventilator pieces. Maybe they didn't do that. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Although you'd hope right now, seeing as GW have been making hay whilst the sun shines, and they've done, they've been one of the best performing companies over the last decade or whatever it was, and made pots of cash. That hopefully they'll be using that to support their staff and come out of this
I hope so.
in
Yeah.
still a pretty
Yeah.
good position.
I hope so. Hunter Esches and Undead Esches coming also. Yeah, I quite like the look of those.
Didn't we already see those?
Yeah, they're
Or
coming.
you mean
Well,
more
they
announcements?
revealed them at something. Gamma, did they reveal them at? I can't remember. They
Something
revealed
like
them.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite looking forward. I don't know. I'm not even going to play Escher House. Actually, this is the thing with Games Workshop games. You find yourself sort of
Drooling
just
over everything.
like, oh well, I don't want to play those. And then, oh, actually, they're quite nice. And then, oh, I am gonna play. So I'm already got four gangs lined up, kind of thing, for a game I don't play. I have to say,
For a game we've only played one demo game of.
we did get our demo game in last week. I had to miss the first time we were going to do it because I had this. Well, I've been cleaning and I got this cough, which I think was from the dust, but it was a persistent cough for about an hour and a half. I thought, oh shit. but then it went
Start
away.
writing up his will.
Yeah, so then it went away. So it wasn't anything bad.
He coughed again. Ah.
Yeah, so we played the next night when my cough had abated, and well, we enjoyed the game. Although it did maybe it's quite funny. It made me realise how elegant and how good the Underworlds design is, because I guess maybe I've just the free form Necromunda is just a bit more kind of finger in the air almost. The tactics are a bit more on the fly. Maybe because I haven't played the game. Maybe it's because I haven't played the game before. But
Possibly. Running headlong down a corridor towards my guy who had a grenade launcher, then turning around and running away again possibly wasn't the most well thought out plan.
True. It's interesting. I was just really thought I really like the tight rule set of Underworlds and how everything is. You haven't got to worry about how far anything away is because it's so easy to tell. It's like
That's true.
and I can shoot you there, and I don't know. Yeah.
It was also a lot of looking up stuff. Like, okay, what weapons he got? He's got a blunderbuss. Okay, what's that weapon? Have a look at this. Okay, it's got this, and it's got these abilities. What do those abilities do? I don't know. I need to go to the abilities section. I have to go and look up those abilities. Oh, it says I get to roll an extra dice on this table.
Yeah, there was a lot of
Which table
that.
was that table now? I'm going to go find that table now. Oh my god.
There was a lot of that. Matt's put the pictures of the Escher models on the Discord. Yeah, they were cool. And VJ's disappointed we're not doing Warcry. Yeah, I think we covered that last week. I particularly found Warcry just keeping up with it all was just too much. Whereas I think Necromunda is kind of a bit slower paced, and I think it suits us better. So that's why we're going for.
Also, they've already had them. They've already done that first year or whatever it was of releases where they released all the war bands or the gangs rather and all the books supplements, and then they did that final book supplement at the end, which had all of the supplements in it. Which I know, frankly, if it had been me collecting them as they went, I would have been quite annoyed by.
Yeah.
So I think we've avoided that initial rush, and now everything's out. We can sort of pick something at our leisure and say, okay, I'm going to be this gang or that gang or whatever, and then we can start out at the bottom, and then graduate slowly that way. I think the other problem, VJ, we had with VJ didn't like the fact that wanted us to do
Warcry.
I can't find it.
Yeah, it was VJ.
Yes, yeah. The only other problem we had, VJ, with Warcry is we didn't. There wasn't enough. What's the word I'm trying to think of?
Narrative.
There wasn't enough narrative in it. There was just, you had your 10 missions. It didn't really matter what happened during those 10 missions, if people died or not. You pretty much just got an identical person, and there was no storyline behind a lot of it. And for me, whilst I enjoyed the quick, easy play, that was also the problem with it, in that you could start a game set up.
Well, I enjoyed the quickie then.
Whilst I enjoyed the fact that you picked some cards and that pretty much set up the whole thing for you with very little thought behind a lot of it, the problem was then is you could end up in a situation quite often in a game where you're like, well, I'm going to lose. I can't win this game, so what can I do here?
Yeah, I kind of quite like the way that Necromunda works. Is that once you're losing, you run away and don't. Yeah. Bad things don't happen, but it's over quite quickly. There's an interesting comment from Jace, and I haven't experienced this because we only play in the garage, and we don't allow people to play 40k in the garage. It says last month he was teaching Underworlds to a friend at the local shop, and a 40k player referred to it with a sneer as a card game. Anyone else encounter hostility from war game communities? Well, yeah.
I mean, I don't go to stores very often, and I kind of consider myself a very bad nerd / very bad geek, in that I'm not particularly nerdy or geeky other than this. And I think being a parent helps, because you end up being a bit more mature about some of this stuff. And if someone came to the store and sort of made a sneery comment about that kind of thing, I'd be like, and you think your toy soldier game is better? I mean, for fuck's sake, man, we're all playing with tiny little soldiers here, making shit up in our heads. What is your problem? Why do you think you're somehow better than me because your toy soldiers are, sexy nuns?
Don't have cards.
Yeah, or they're sexy nuns. I mean, that makes you better somehow? I'm not really sure.
I also really like the idea that a card game is somehow inherently worse than a miniatures game.
Yeah.
It's not Snap.
Yeah, it's that thing you just think, but what? I mean, and it's all subjective, because they're like, well, you do this, like, so it's a bit like the people who sit and go, oh, you don't paint your models. Who gives a shit what I do or don't do with my little toy plastic soldiers? We're here to play a game. Just fucking enjoy yourself and stop being so sad and lonely. Come on.
Put X-Wing is okay. I haven't played X-Wing that much, but a gentleman's gamer is a term, Pete, apparently. I kind of agree with VJ. We don't really play to win. I think it's more when you set it all up, especially maybe it's for the camera. You set it all up and you draw a thing, and actually one of us can't win now, so we have to draw something else because there's no point in playing this game. The other one can't.
Or you get a couple of turns in, then you suddenly realise. That's when you realise, crap, somebody has no chance of winning this game, but we've got to keep going because we're recording it, so we can't just. Yeah,
I did quite enjoy it. I did quite like it, but I think it's the same problem for me with Kill Team, is that the release schedule is so punishing that I just felt like we were so far behind that we were never going to catch up, and there were too many match-offs. Whereas I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like Necromunda is very set. It's been set pretty much. I know they've introduced some new things. It's been pretty much set for 20 years. So it's stable, and you've got a decent narrative there, and it's not going to change that much, although they obviously are bringing out new stuff. And actually now I've forgotten what point I was going to make, so I apologise for that. But I don't know. I just found that Warcry was too fast. They're releasing too much, and I don't really like everything being on the cards either. That was the other thing that I think finally did it in for me. I didn't find it as immersive as I hoped it would.
The main thing for me was, whilst it was, and I didn't dislike it because it wasn't competitive, because we're certainly not competitive players.
No.
I think I found that it had very little narrative involved in what happened in each game. So it had that aspect from Underworlds, in that you could play lots of single standalone games, which in Underworlds seemed fine to me, because the very aspect of that is they're in this hell where they keep getting brought back from the dead and resurrected all the time. So that makes perfect sense that you go up and you kill everybody and then you turn around, they're behind you again. But because of that, and it was meant to be a bit more of a narrative campaigny style game, it didn't really have any of that in it, whereas Necromunda has a lot more. If somebody gets hurt, it will make a difference on your next game, or you might have to play a scenario where you have to try and rescue that person. So that kind of has more of the narrative in it for me over Warcry. Not that I didn't enjoy Warcry though.
And I think with Warcry and to a lesser extent Kill Team, but I think also you had this quite interesting idea, which people may or may not have liked, but it was quite interesting, this idea that there was this chaos wasteland and these 8 chaos warbands were vying for supremacy or whatever, or recognition in this area, and it was very that was all part of it. But then they just like threw everything else, and not everything else, but they threw loads of other stuff at it from different aspects of their other games, and it just felt like, well, it isn't really, it's just like it isn't anything special anymore. Whereas Necromunda, it feels like it's its own environment with its own things going on. Yeah.
And I one of the plus sides to Warcry was they released loads of other armies straight off the bat, but again that kind of seemed to detract from the whole idea of Warcry.
That's why
about those warbands, which
that's what I mean.
I mean, they had to kind of really, because if they wanted to attract half their gamer base.
Yeah, I do see that. Then, but from a content provision point of view, it's kind of like, well, actually, we can't keep up with that, so therefore we're fighting a losing battle. And whereas the guys from Red Rose Wargaming seem to be doing much better. They obviously really like it. Have you seen that stadium they built?
That looks superb.
I haven't seen that rules variant, but they built a stadium. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, find them on Facebook or Twitter. Red Rose, they are Red Rose Wargaming, aren't they?
Yeah.
The stadium is amazing.
The stadium, and if you had the Splintered Fangs warband in that, would just absolutely fit the whole sort of gladiatorial combat thing.
Vijay says he loved it about Warcry that you could use as factions from the right from the get-go. Well, yeah, I can completely see that if you've got one. But we didn't have one, and so then you're trying to build one, and they were quite hard. You couldn't just buy a box of X to get your
box of eggs.
Like you can't
get eggs for love, no money.
Box of eggs, you can't get eggs. Yeah, but whereas you could buy the Splintered Fang or whatever, you could buy those in a box. You couldn't buy the Stormcast in a box, or you couldn't buy the Gits in a box or whatever.
But you can now.
Bits and pieces. Well, yeah, you couldn't at the time, and I've stopped looking at it now.
That was the thing that also stopped us from Kill Team as well, the massive release schedule and the fact that you thought, I can make any sort of Kill Team here, that's great, but then you realise that I've got to buy about £70 worth of models to get the 10 models that I actually need to be able to play the game, and that again immediately no, for that reason I'm out, whereas at least with Necromunda you can buy a gang box and boom, you're done.
Yeah.
I did find it quite funny that there was just coming back to the sneeriness from a 40k player, and if people play 40k, I don't have a problem with what people play at all, whether you play 40k or Pokemon or any other Magic the Gathering, whatever you play, as long as you're having fun, you're not annoying anybody else, who cares, frankly, is my opinion. But a comment on one of the 40k thread, somebody started going on about furries, and somebody comes along, they're like, what's a furry? I've never heard of this, what the hell is this? And then loads of people basically all spitting venom at these furries. Now, I'm not a furry, and I've read up on them, and frankly, I personally find it a bit weird. But it's people who dress up in full-sized animal outfits and pretend they're animals. It's a bit of a sexual thing. And they're all really spitting this venom at this group of people. I'm thinking, almost everything you're moaning at them about can be applied to the 40k community or any gaming community. Is like, you can just turn any of the things you don't like about them on its head and point them directly back at yourself. So if they're not doing anything that directly affects you, who cares? Just leave people to do whatever they want. Leave them alone. Just have fun.
So the episode title of tonight's live stream is the one where Pete monologues about furries.
If I want to be a furry, I goddamn will. And none of you can stop me. I mean, you wouldn't know.
We're down to 19 viewers now, Pete. I don't think this is good for ratings.
I've offended all our 40k viewers.
Yeah, 40k people have just gone.
No, right,
stupid bloody card game anyway.
Oh dear. I'm going to have to get a furry glove now, so next time we're moving models around you to see this big furry hand.
Which Underworld's pet would you cosplay as? That's a good question.
Oh yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Surely it'll be Gruul.
Riptooth.
He's got a collar on. Oh dear. But I still like where Underworlds is right now. I'm loving the fact that you can play different warbands, get quite different you can get you can get very different warbands and very different decks and play a very different game within the confines of such a small area and with so little outlay. It's to me, it's what makes the game the most appealing out of everything.
Yeah, and it hasn't suffered from. I mean, sometimes the number of cards feel a bit overwhelming, but it hasn't suffered from over fast expansion either. It's very steady, which I like. You can keep up with it nice and easily, and you know where you are at any one time. And actually, the rotating out is really good too, because you don't ever feel like you've got to keep up and you've got to play everything.
Yeah.
So it's it's almost the opposite of many Games Workshop games, which are just so bloated that they end up collapsing under their own weight.
Yeah, I mean, that was a comment that got made earlier. Circus of Pain said he would have preferred the initial 6 months to just be Chaos Warbands in Warcry and then bring out everything else. And Matt then said afterwards that it was the way they churned out stuff so quickly with Warcry and Kill Team. That's kind of what put us both off a lot of the stuff, because it's just suddenly a landslide of things. And they still haven't brought out one of the final Chaos Warbands for Warcry yet.
It sort of becomes it's not a game of its own right then, it's a game. And I can completely see why they do this. It becomes a game for people who already play their other games. Whereas Necromunda, or to a greater extent Warhammer Underworlds, but Necromunda as well, feels like a game you play as well as their other games, if you see what I mean. You don't have, you know what I mean? I don't think I explained that very well, but it's kind of like they feel like games in their own right, whereas the other one, Warcry, almost, it feels like now, and Kill Team exist almost just to service a slightly different, the same people, but in a slightly different way, if that makes sense. I'm not sure that does make sense. I know what I mean, but I can't say it. Help me out, Pete. I'm dying here.
I'm leaving you to die. I don't know what you're trying to say. BJ says he would cosplay as Snurk, swinging his balls around. I did the balls comment.
Jace is getting to it right now. It's a bit daunting if you feel the need to get everything, but 2 warbands every 4 months is really easy to keep up with for sure. Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think if you're getting into it now, you've almost got to make the choice that actually I'm not going to worry about Nightbolt. Yeah. There's only 2 warbands left in this season. I'm not going to worry about Nightbolt. I might buy the ones that I like, but I'm not going to go chasing those cards because they're going to cycle out by the end of the summer. And as nobody's going to be able to play for the next 4 months anyway, probably. But even if that wasn't happening, you'd kind of feel like actually just, I think knowing they're going to cycle out is quite good, because it means you can jump in at any point. Because if you're doing it at the beginning of a season, you think, well, it might be worth getting them because I'm going to get a year's use out of them. Then you get to an end, you can just think, actually, I'm not going to bother. I'm going to wait.
Yeah. Yeah, what Jace said, with the state of the world right now, it doesn't seem to make much sense to get involved in any of those in Nightfall warbands. I don't think it does, really, to be honest. And the other good thing about Underworlds in general is it's one of the easiest systems to proxy stuff in. If you want to try out some cards with a mate, you can print them out and stick them in a sleeve, and no one's going to know the difference or care. The only time you do need all the cards is if you're going to do in a tournament. And to be honest, if you're going to tournaments or with tournament play in mind, then you're already of a level of seriousness, which means you're going to have to spend a certain level of money, which is still a fraction of what you would spend in 40k or AOS or anything like that.
And the other good thing about it is that although they have FAQs, which might destroy your deck build. I don't play the other games. I don't know really how true it is, but you hear these sort of stories of where one army is massively overpowered, so everybody goes out and buys all that stuff, and then they FAQ it, and then there's like people rage about the fact that they've changed their beloved army, which now isn't broken anymore. Whereas actually, if something is broken in Underworlds, they might change it, but you've still got everything, and everything still plays. You haven't wasted any money. You haven't gone out and bought a Titan, because Titans are really strong, and then suddenly you can't use it anymore because they've nerfed them. If they nerf Monarch, you've still got all your cards and you've still got all the warbands, so you can still play.
Yeah, exactly. You at most all you've lost is maybe a couple of your. You might not use a couple of the cards you used to use. Like there were I can never remember the name of them, but there were relics.
Yeah.
No one used relics after they turned them into a 2 glory. What was it? Whatever it was. Is it 2 glory for a relic?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. So they changed to 2 glory, and then people stopped playing them.
So no one played them, but that didn't cost you anything because you had the cards anyway because you bought all the warbands. So
I was listening to Chatting Crit today, and they were talking about how fun it would be to have a tournament or at least a game where you played old Grand Clash winning decks against basically Grand Clashing decks from different eras and played them against. And you didn't change anything, so you had to play the Grimwatch one. You weren't allowed to change any cards, but you could play relics as were at the time they won against Grimwatch against the time they won. And it'd be interesting. I almost feel like we should play one of those games. I just feel like the relics still win. But
you reckon?
I don't know.
But would you play it without? Because you'd have to play it without the bar lists or the far lists or any sort of FAQs.
You'd have to play. Each person would have to play. It's not my idea, Matt. Matt says logo. We'll stress it's Chatting Crit's idea. But you have to play with whatever was live at the time. So if something wasn't restricted at the time, you'd be allowed to play it. If you see what I mean. So you could have I can't remember. John Reese's winning deck had Time Trap in it. You could play with Time Trap, and you would be able to play with it.
If you were playing with the if you were playing a relic deck, then the relics wouldn't be 2 glory each. You play with the original rules at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting idea.
Go on.
Well, it'd be an interesting idea. I still feel relics could pretty much print glory like nobody's business, and I don't know even the Grimwatch could keep up with them. But I might be wrong.
I don't know. I reckon the Grimwatch would still have them because you could do stuff with the Grimwatch, but you could also be offensive at the same time with a lot of their objectives, and therefore you could possibly get into the Stormcast half and eventually start causing them a lot of trouble whilst still printing all of your own glory. I don't know. Maybe. Be interesting to see.
Jay says keeping up the FAQ is a big thing in X-Wing for sure. Sometimes they nerf something into the ground. Sometimes they made good adjustments, and your ship was still viable. Yeah, I haven't got enough experience of X-Wing. Certainly not competitive X-Wing to really know how that worked. But I do like the fact that here you can just kind of, if they nerf something, then you've still got everything else to play it. It's not like you can't buy to make a really good build, if that makes sense. You can't buy certain things.
It's not pay to win.
Yeah, well, it kind of is still pay to win, but at least even if they nerf something, you've still got the same. If you've bought everything, you've still got the same everything as everybody else.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy extra things to make. Jason's talking about a Jumpmaster 5000, which sounds like an exercise bike. But
the Jumpmaster 5000.
But you don't. I don't know how it worked, but if you bought things to get cars to make that better, and then they broke that, then those cars are useless. That doesn't happen in Underworlds in the same way.
Yeah. Matt Collins asked, did we do a Relic Stormcast mirror match to show how boring it was? We did many moons ago. We did do a mirror match for the Stormcast, and it took us about 20 minutes to play, I think, and it was just... Yeah.
It was interesting, though, because... And this feeds back into Chatting Crit and what they were talking about the control stuff of it. It actually... On paper, it seems really easy to play, but actually, when we played it, it was more nuanced than I was anticipating.
Yeah.
And it was tough, but in the end, because it was relics versus relics, we basically just had to.
Just a race to who got
I can't remember who won, but we had to not. I think it just came down to what order the cards came in. Is it on YT? It's on YouTube. I think it was pre-Patreon.
Yeah, I think it might have been way before Patreon ever occurred. Let's see if I can find it. Jay says that Stormcast are just practicing social distancing.
Yeah, fair enough to them. Yeah.
Let's see if I can find a battle report whilst we chat.
Got your range 2 weapons.
Defensive relic decks, got it. It's even got our old intro. There you go. There it is. That video is on May 2019. That was a lot more recent than I would have thought.
May 2019?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh no, sorry, May 19th, 2018.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah. 2018. Have we lost weight since then, or we?
Well, this was back before you saw us on screen.
Okay.
It was also back
Okay.
when we trialed the view of the cards top down on the on.
Ah.
Yeah, looked rubbish.
Yep.
You know,
Very many
well,
iterations of Agents of Sigmar.
yeah, yeah. I've gone back a few occasions and watched some of our battle reports from 2018 and stuff like that, where we've done like the orcs have just come out, and here are the sepulchral guard, and what are they going to look like? And let's see how they play, and then it's just god awful. just watching what we do, go, oh my word! I
Just
knew
as
I
if
was bad.
Stormcasters' social distances are the Wormspat, what happens if you ignore the advice? Yes, Wormspat is the logical end point if you were in Matlock Bath on your motorbike on Saturday. That's where you end up.
Yeah. So yeah, do check out that game. It's an interesting watch. It was fun to do. It wasn't very serious when we recorded it. If I'm
No, it was
honest, it was
a bit silly.
yeah, but it was when we were attempting to work out how we could show the cards off with the top-down view. That's when we started spraying all our cards with varnish.
Yep, back in the day.
God, I remember that. But
Yeah.
we have many better ways of doing things now, and we'll be going over to TTS, so that'll be even better.
Yeah. Did we have a few questions? I feel like we had some questions. We haven't answered any of them. Somebody asked, somebody asked about our luck. What is our worst luck we'd ever had?
Yep. Somebody asked us to regale them with tales of our terrible dice.
Terrible dice.
Mine has got to easily be something like the Magor match that I played against the Thorns, where I don't think I hit a single time.
Yeah.
And it was just horrific. The whole thing was me swinging and missing the whole time, which for Magor, quite a big problem.
Yes. I have two recollections. One is when we played Simons. I think we might have talked about it recently on a chat. But I was with the Godsworn Hunt and I rolled something like 10 dice, and I needed a crit, and I didn't get one. And
you got one success, didn't you?
One success on 10 dice. I think I have 5 dice, but I could re-roll all of them. So I missed with the first 5, re-rolled them, got one success, and then he rolled a crit.
Yeah, he rolled 2 dice and got a crit on one of them.
That's right, 2 dice.
You can hear me cackling in the background.
Yeah, but my best ever one was when we were at Warhammer World, and I was playing my Bretonians against whatever you were playing, undead. My general charged in, needing 2s, and I rolled 5 1s.
I've still got the picture on my phone somewhere.
5 1s. It was brilliant.
I remember that. that was awesome.
Myself laughing.
It was just one of those movies like, oh, it's going to be like that today. That's what it's going to be like.
Yeah, in the hallowed hall. I think it might be the first time we'd been in the modern era.
I think it was.
Yeah. It was at the hallowed hall. They were all 5 1s. That was great.
Because one time we were going to go meet your mate, weren't we? And one time he couldn't make it, and the next time he could. I think the first time it was just us two went, and the second time we went with my mate Ben, and we met your mate there as well.
Yeah.
That might be the second time. I think we've been 3 times now, or 4.
I can't remember. 3 times. I think we've only played. I think we've played.
Must be 4 because we've gone for 2 grand clashes.
Well, it's actually 5 because we also played 40k there. If you remember.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. That must be the last 3 years we've done that. I've been to Warhammer World a lot more times than I ever remembered. Yeah.
So we, but but when we met Mike, I had the opposite of luck. I had that Bretonian army playing Stormcast, and I managed to. I can't remember. It was an objective one where you got points if you've been on objective. So I managed to get onto them quickly, and then he absolutely destroyed me. I just sat and watched as the Stormcast just completely obliterated 95% of my army, except for one paladin on the central objective that he couldn't get off, so he couldn't catch me up because I'd held enough points at the beginning, and he couldn't kill this bloody thing. I kept making my saving throws with this paladin, which was I'd ironically used a Stormcast model to represent, but he was Coulson. In fact, it was our old mascot of the channel, Coulson, and who was the Knight Quester, I think it was.
Quester or something,
Yeah, and that was so. Yeah, so that was good fortune at Warhammer World.
Yeah, I think in that match as well, when we got there to find what table we had booked, because I just booked a table, and we had one of the tables that just featured in one of their battle reports that had all
Yeah,
the textured, all the
that's
woodland,
the
all
one.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And I was just in awe of the fact that I'm actually playing on a table that is featured in a Games Workshop White Dwarf battle report. I mean, at
and
that
it was
point,
terrible to play on. None of the figures stood
it,
up. It was all textured.
it's
It was a
friggin' awful.
nightmare.
But at that
It was,
point, 12-year-old me was fucking ecstatic. That's all I can say.
uh,
It's just a little child
VJ says
inside me
we're
was
just
screaming.
waffling now.
Yeah,
I love it.
we
It's
have been
just
all day,
just
really.
waffling now. I mean, VJ, that's pretty much the normal state. How long have we been friends? Well, it's 20 years or thereabouts, isn't it?
About that, I think we met
Yeah,
at back where we
maybe just
both
that.
worked at a company called Friends Provident,
Yeah,
and yeah, I think we kind of knew each other there, but then we got into role play because the guy who
yeah.
was a singer in my band knew you because you guys. Did you go to university together or did you just start
We just
on
all
the
started
universe?
together
I was on the special.
on the graduate program. Yeah,
That's it, yeah. So
yeah,
you all started on the graduate program, and he knew you through that, and he was
yeah.
the singer in my band, and then we just started doing D&D together, and that lasted about 20 years. I feel that we grew more uh, familiar with each other because we both had kids and wives, and all the rest of the group didn't really have children, or I
So
mean
you see,
some.
Jason, he's off for his birthday breakfast.
Bye,
Not his
happy
birthday,
birthday.
but it's his youngest birthday
Oh,
breakfast.
okay, happy
You shouldn't
birthday
eat
to your youngest.
don't eat your youngest breakfast on his birthday. That's just mean.
It's mine. Get your own. Get your own porridge. I think we ended up thinking a lot because we think a lot alike anyway, and I think because most of the other people in the group, one of them's married, but the rest didn't really have wives or kids or anything like that.
The
So
rest are typical 40k players. I think that's what you're saying.
sorry,
The rest are typical 40k players. I think that's what you're saying.
one of them is certainly somebody who I would class as an atypical 40k player. Definitely one of them. Not saying who. And that's how we met. It's quite dull, really, but it's one of those things where when you're a kid and you've got all your friends in school and stuff, and you think this must be what being an adult's like. You've got all your mates, and then you grow up and you get a job, and then you realise, oh no, your mates are just the people who don't annoy you very much at work, and you end up just seeing them more often.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's interesting. A difference in childhoods today. I really am waffling now because I'm struggling to get my kids interested in this. I'm going to try and play Necromunda with them tomorrow, actually. But I feel like I it was quite hard to it was quite hard to play Warhammer, and I played a lot of time just on the floor against myself, and occasionally I have a friend around and we play. But because they've got video games and everything comes really quite easily to them, they just go and do that, and it's very hard to get them to sit down and say, well, well, we've talked about this before, but you've got to, well, we're going to play this game, but actually we've got to spend half an hour setting it up. And then you've got to spend some time in the background building your army. They're just not interested in doing that. It's just not
Yeah,
immediate enough for them. And I don't
yeah.
know how to encourage them to play.
I don't think there is a way. I think these kind of games are increasingly becoming older age group specific and people with much more disposable income. Because if you want to play Fortnite or whatever, I mean, Fortnite's free. So if you've got an Xbox or something, you can pretty much
Yeah,
play
true.
Fortnite.
Yeah,
So that is free. If you want to play 40k, though, you've got to pay several £100s and go through the hassle of putting it together and painting it if that's something that you don't necessarily enjoy doing. And I think that
yeah, that's
these
pretty
kind of
painful.
games,
That's pretty
yeah,
painful trying to get my kids to paint.
yeah, yeah.
They just won't paint my armies.
Paint them, god damn it!
Because again, it's an age thing. They've just got no patience, and I remember that. I remember wanting my armies painted immediately,
Yeah,
and not having the time to do it. And then being older, having a bit more time, in fact, having more time to paint than to play, because
yeah.
painting you could do at home in half an hour, whereas playing it's go out.
You've got to go
But
somewhere and meet people and
yeah. But it's interesting. So we're going to try and play Necromunda with them tomorrow. Because I need to learn to play this game so I can beat Pete when we play. Uh,
I think you beat me in our demo game, didn't you? It
Well,
might be
we
because we
kind
got
of
the.
technically, yeah, and then we played an extra turn because we had time, and then you absolutely, I think you smashed me on that turn.
I definitely had my luck on that next round, but I
Yeah,
think we screwed up the stiletto rule.
Oh, we did. We screwed up the special round, and that was why I won. Actually, that's why I
That
won in that
could
round.
have, well, it could have made a difference because I think you
Yeah,
took out my champion with
yeah.
one dice roll or something like that, and possibly
And
shouldn't
it
have
should have
done.
been. It should have been two really hard dice rolls.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
that's what you do. You learn. So,
Right.
so yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's
Yeah.
plenty
See,
of.
X-wing and older people for but I can see Star Wars Legion and X-wing having a slightly more cross appeal because young kids love Star Wars, and I can
My
completely
kids,
see my kids are fascinated by X-wing,
neither
but
of my kids care about Star
they
Wars.
don't have the patience to play it, or the coordination not to keep moving the fucking models. biggest
Well,
biggest problem with X-wing with kids is that where they're facing is
they just
important.
shove
And so
models
if
and
you
stuff.
knock them or move them, then you're potentially giving yourself an advantage, and you've got to try and get it back to where it was. And that my nerves couldn't take it. Another great thing about Underworlds, as long as they're in the hex, it
That's
doesn't
all that
matter.
matters.
It doesn't matter
Well,
where
we
they
were
are.
saying that when we played the Necromunda game, we were like, it actually matters which way they're facing, so
Yeah,
we actually have to pay attention to which way we've put them, and not
yeah,
just shove the models around or just because I'm one of those people who, if I was playing 40k, I'd move the unit and I'd roll the dice, and when it wasn't my turn or I wasn't actively involved at that point, I would turn all my men to face the direction to make it look like they were shooting at the enemy because I hated my models facing the wrong way during the games and that kind of thing. But you can't do that in Necromunda because it matters
no,
which way they're facing.
yeah, you'd be cheating.
That would just be cheating.
And then I suppose that's part of what I was trying to allude to earlier. I almost missed that tighter rule set of Underworlds in the sense
Mm.
that it doesn't matter. Whereas you've got much more much less granular, I suppose. Necromunda, it's much more of a continuum where they are. They could be anywhere. They could be in this position, but they could be facing any number of degrees round, kind of
Mm.
thing. And it's just a lot more things to think about.
I wonder if they'll start introducing anything into Underworlds where your direction of movement affects the way an attack goes. So it's like
Ooh,
if you move from one hex to the next hex, your attack has to be the next hex on from that, or something like that. Could be quite interesting.
like a almost like a bull rush.
Yeah, like a charge attack
Only
side of
do
thing.
only attack in a straight line.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
something like that.
interesting. I'm not sure they will, but interesting. We're down to 13 people now, Pete. I think it might be
I
time to
think
call it a
I
day.
think it's time to call it a night. So everybody who's come along tonight, who has bore witness to this frankly rambling saga of nonsense, thank you for coming online, and we hope that everybody's
Yeah,
keeping
thank you.
well
I
and
hope we
safe.
brightened up your if you are stuck indoors, which I think is most of us these days. Then thank you for listening. I hope we brightened it up. It was a bit random. I don't know. We'll keep doing these if people are still interested in doing them. But I guess there's going to
Yep.
be less and less to talk about because there's going to be no new warbands coming. We might get some card reveals, I suppose, but there's going to be no new warbands. There's going to be no tournaments to talk about. Yeah, so Malachi's pleased to hear us, so that's good.
Thank you very
Um,
much.
and
Hopefully, we'll keep people entertained.
Thanks for
Maybe we'll
your
do some Underworlds games.
comments. Thanks, Jace. I'm more than happy to talk about X-Wing, even though I don't really know what you're talking about. But it's interesting to hear the
It's
perspective of
never
different
stopped us
games.
before.
Do you have to be patrons to play us on TTS? Kind of. Yeah, you don't have to be
Maybe.
patrons to play us on Warhammer Underworld online. That said, you do have to be a patron to be in the tournament. It's just finding the time. I'd love to have the time to play everybody who wanted to play.
Yeah.
But at the moment, Pete has played patrons on Warhammer Underworld on TTS, but I haven't even played. I've only ever played Pete. I haven't played anybody else. It's just getting the time.
I know
So
that Brandon wants to take you on. He faced me. I know he wants to have a go at you.
does he?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm sure I can sort that out. But yeah, so probably the answer is probably yes, actually, Jace, to that.
Yeah.
That's a
Only
long answer.
because we've got so little time at the minute, and this whole lockdown hasn't really given us any more time. If anything, it's taken time away. So we have to sort of prioritise to the people who are our Patreon supporters, and so sorry about that.
It's almost my day now is basically the children up till dinner time and then bedtime, and then I come down and I actually have about an hour with my wife and talk to her or do something, and then it's bedtime.
Yeah.
So that seems to be how my evening's going at the moment. So,
But maybe next week when we're doing this, maybe we'll stream again for Warhammer Worlds or something like that.
yeah, we could do. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd
there's
be
nothing
interesting.
stopping us doing that at the same time. If there's nothing new to talk about
We'll
other
put something
than
down.
the latest COVID craziness that's going on or whatever, then
Yeah.
maybe we'll stream a game on there as well.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying. I think we're going to be in a bad place this time next week. But we're looking. I was looking at the stats earlier. But anyway, let's not dwell on that now. I think we've
let's not. Let's finish on a high.
yeah.
I'm not sure what that is, but thank you everybody for coming and watching us tonight. Do stay safe, especially if you're one of the poor group of people who do have to go out to keep our world running right now.
Yeah, thank you very much. If any of you are any of our key workers, thank you very much for that, because I'm basically moaning a little bit, but actually I just have to stay indoors and not do anything, which and look after my children, which is pretty bad. Which is not a bad position to be in. So do thank you if you are going out. Jay says we should be doing better than the US. Yeah, possibly they don't seem to have a full handle on it. The news for it's a little bit sketchy over here, but anyway,
it's hard to. I mean, it's pretty sketchy on our side for our own situations. It's even hard to tell what's going on in other countries. But I hope everyone stays well. Do look after yourselves. Stay indoors wherever you can. If you do have to go out, obviously, then good luck to you. And we hope everybody stays well. We'll be back next week. Maybe we'll do some more. Maybe we'll play some Underworlds online, something like that, or maybe we'll have something new to chat about. But we'll see what comes.
Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe. We'll see you soon. Bye.